I'm Elvira Guzman. I'm an author, speaker, publicist, and talk show host. I've owned a publicity company for 10 years after starting my career working for Steve Harvey as a radio and television producer. I've worked on TV and films with celebrities like Halle Berry, Forrest Whitaker, Terrence J, Amber Rose, Mike Epps. I've done concerts for Ice Cube, The Game, Music Soul Child. I've worked on books for Shirley Strawberry, Troy Byer, and I've done philanthropy projects with Hollywood's heroes like Danny Trejo. Throughout my career, all of the projects I've done have had one common thread. They all help people find their way. Welcome back to the show. I'm very excited to be here with my very first guest. She's an actress, fashion designer, and an amazing mom. I would like everyone to welcome Michelle Epps to the show. Michelle, welcome.
Thank you.
So I heard that you were in the movie Fighting Temptations and
yes.
Misadventures of a Hollywood Housewife and 35 and Ticking. How was that?
It was good. The Misadventures of a Hollywood Housewife, I produced it myself. Wow. And came up with the concept, so that was really fun because it was close to my heart.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, and 35 and Ticking, I had the opportunity to play a drunk girl, so that was fun. So I just said crazy stuff to people.
That's awesome. So I know that Hollywood is a very male-driven industry. So tell me, what are some obstacles that you've had to deal with, that you've had to overcome over the years?
I think realizing that it's ran by men, so you have to figure out how to maneuver through that. Instead of, a lot of times people want to change it, and it's like it's already written, so you have to figure out how are you going to work through that, instead of trying to say, oh, I hate this, I'm going to change it. You just figure out how to make it work for yourself.
Definitely. Now, with that, did you ever have any thoughts of self-doubt or anything like that would potentially prevent you from following your dreams?
Yes, because it's so hard. Sometimes you can think, oh, I'm about to make it, this is going to be the thing, and then it's like, sorry, that didn't go through, no, we're not going to do it, we're not going to use you, or you just don't even hear anything. You get a call back, but then nothing else transpires after that.
Yeah, and I know in my case, as soon as that happens, that's when the self-doubt and negative thoughts start to happen. Does that happen with you also?
Yeah, I think it happens with everybody because you just never know when you're going to make it, or you never know what the future holds. So it's kind of like, is this the right career I'm choosing? Should I be doing something different? Or should I keep pursuing it and just don't give up, and eventually it's going to happen? So you start questioning yourself.
Yeah, and so today's topic is, how do we eliminate those negative thoughts? So can you tell and share with us, what are some negative thoughts that you have, and how do you deal with them?
I think about, am I ever going to make it? Just being a good mom. And so what I do is just reassure myself that, you are good. You just have to tell yourself, you're good, you can do this. Just keep giving myself positive affirmations. And, just know it's hard. Nothing is easy. And then sometimes reading other people's stories, it makes you say, okay, mine is not that bad.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that you mentioned positive affirmations. That's something that I personally do. Whenever I'm feeling negative, I always say, with God, all things are possible. God loves me, and I shall fear nothing but God. What are some positive affirmations that you say that our audiences could use?
I don't have, I'll read them. I have a lady, it's like a spiritual lady, because I'm in a Bible study, so I don't have specific ones I use, so I just talk to positive people, and I just reassure myself on the things that I'm questioning, or I'm like, you are good enough. Also, I guess that is one. You are good enough, and you're your own person. You have your own path.
Yeah. So was there a time that these negative thoughts started, or have you always had them?
No, I think when you come to LA, because this is trying to make it in Hollywood, that's the hardest thing. To be a doctor, that's not even that hard compared to this. Because if you go to college, go to medical school, take your test, pass, you're a doctor. Yeah. It's about as much as you want to do will determine. Whereas in Hollywood, it's somebody else who makes the decision.
Absolutely. I don't know if you know, but over 100,000 people move to Hollywood each year to make it. And unfortunately, a lot of them have to move back, or they end up homeless, or they end up living in a room with 5 other people just to try and stay out here. So it is incredibly difficult, and I want people to understand that you get way more no's than you get yeses. So it's really important that you say positive affirmations. So tell me a little bit. I have friends who have children, And I sometimes hear, when we go to happy hour, they tell me that, sometimes they feel guilty because they're not with their kids while they're working, or sometimes when they discipline their kids, they also have those negative thoughts. Do you deal with them, and how do you overcome them? Because I know a lot of our viewers have children and they go through that.
Yes, because it's hard to chastise your child, but they need it. So sometimes you're like, was I mean? Was I too mean?
Yeah.
Was I wrong? Because sometimes you have to decide, like, did they do this, or how bad was it? How far do I need to go? So what I just tell myself is they probably did something else that I didn't find out about, and so it's like it equals out, and I just know that when you don't say anything or don't discipline your children, they kind of lose respect for you, because they're like, oh, I can do whatever I want. She's not going to say anything. But when you do, like this morning, my daughter tried to rush me to leave to take them to school. And I had to tell her, get out my kitchen. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And then the whole ride to school, she didn't speak to me. But as soon as she got out the car, she said, bye, Mommy, love you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what if I would have caved in and was like, I'm sorry, but it's like, no, don't rush me, because I'm getting you to school early still. You're going to be more than on time. Don't rush me. I'm the mother. Don't tell me what to do.
I'm so glad that you're that type of mother, because I see a lot of women who let their kids run them, and I just think immediately is, what kind of adult are those kids going to be?
Spoiled brats. Because it's horrible to see an adult that's a spoiled brat.
Yeah.
A kid, you're like, oh, they're a kid, they get a pass. But to see an adult who just, don't want to abide by the rules and the laws of the land, that's horrible. You know?
Definitely. Now, have you ever let the thoughts win? I know in my case, just 2 weeks ago, I had a panic attack because I let one negative thought, because it was my grandmother's birthday, and she passed away when she was 77, and my mom's 10 years to be 77, and as soon as I thought of my mom leaving, I got into that negative mode, and I thought of another negative thought, another negative thought. The next thing I knew, I was having a full-on panic attack, and I had to start using all the tools that I know, positive affirmations, go outside and look at nature, pray, talk to a friend to try and get out of that. Have you ever experienced that, to where you've had like a panic attack, or even you fallen into a small depression?
I think I don't get panic attacks, but sometimes I can get, a little down on myself or too hard on myself, where I take something something negative happened that I didn't have control over, and I just let it just start weighing on me. That one thing just weighing on me, and I'm just starting to like, oh my gosh, I made the wrong decision. I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do this? I start questioning everything I did that led to that event. And then it takes me a minute. I have to just go take a nap. That's what I do.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
I go to sleep.
That's good. Okay, everyone do that, because I think that is the best solution. Definitely.
Because you have to stop thinking about it. That's the number one. The key is to stop thinking about that thing that is bothering you.
Yeah. So in the previous segment, I was talking about how important our thoughts are, because whatever we think is what we manifest. And every major person who's written books about it, like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale, the list goes on. Can you tell our viewers your thoughts on how powerful thoughts are, and if they have negative thoughts, to do their best to eliminate them?
I think they are very strong, because what you think you can manifest. So you have to be very careful. And some people, like I've realized, there's some negative people that I may come in contact with, and it's like everything is negative. Their energy, their thoughts, their everything. And for me, I have to back away from them, and what you have to do is realize, are you that negative person? Because if you don't take responsibility for being that way, you can never change, because you think it's nothing wrong. So you just continue to be negative. So I would say first you need to realize and analyze yourself. Like, am I being negative? Am I a negative person? Do I always complain about things? And self-evaluate and go forward to make the changes. And those books are good, because sometimes it puts it into perspective, because we don't realize that you're doing that. Because sometimes a lot of people don't, or some people have friends that don't tell them, hey, you're negative. You're doing this and that. I let people know, like, you're being real negative right now.
And I think you're actually doing them such a great service, because I've also had friends who are negative, and what I've done is I've separated myself from them, because before I know it, now I'm gossiping. Now I'm saying negative things to myself because they're always complaining about themselves. And so I feel that sometimes when it's so negative, I have to separate myself. And in my book, I write that, let's just say, for instance, a wealthy man who's very positive. That's why he's wealthy. He's been attracting all these opportunities to him, meets a woman who's negative, and she starts to rub off on him. He's going to lose his wealth. And the same thing goes for a person who's not as rich, but then they team up with the person who is successful. They start to rub off on them, and then they become very successful. And so I definitely agree with, hang out with people who are positive. Definitely. So can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to raise children and want them to also be positive? Do you correct your children when they're starting to be negative from little on?
Yes, I do. And I find that they've learned from my correction, so now they correct me. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the mom, but still I have to think, it's like I'm being checked. And it's okay for a kid to, like, hey, mommy, you're not doing this or you're not doing that, because it's still, they're staying in their lane, but we all have to sometimes help each other, and a kid can't help you. Like, I never discredit where my help can come from, because some people will say, oh, they don't have enough to tell me what I need to do, or sometimes the person who you least expect can be the very person to tell you that thing to make you be successful, or to introduce you to that right person who can help you in whatever your journey is or your path.
You're so right. Wow. Well, we're out of time. I can't believe it went by so fast. Thank you so much for coming. I know I learned a lot, and I know that all of our viewers did too.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We'll be right back after these messages.